Bench usage in the Six Nations 2025. Folks, we all know that these days rugby is a 23-man game, and often it is the bench that makes the difference between defeat and victory. There's a number of games you see which are close at halftime, close at 40 or even 50 minutes, but the team who's able to get more impact from the guys coming from the pine are the ones who are able to take the game away. Let's have a look. What were the tactics for each of the sides? Were they using 5-3s, 6-2s, or 7-1s in terms of the balance between forwards and backs on the bench? And also, what kind of minutes were these guys being brought on? Are they being brought on early in the half to get more impact from the bench, or are they kind of keeping the starters out there a bit longer? We'll go through them and you guys can let us know your thoughts. If this is the kind of thing you like talking about or hearing about, feel free to subscribe to the channel because we'll have more of that coming. I felt like, prior to actually checking the numbers out, that the 5-3 split, the traditional 5 forwards, 3 backs, you got a half-back cover, kind of fly half inside centre, that kind of midfielder cover, and then utility outside back cover. I felt like it's been going out of fashion, and it is slightly because it is the second most selected formation. The most popular formation in the Six Nations 2025 was the 6-2 split. Italy and England played all 5 of their games with a 6-2 split. Scotland played 3 of their games, France 2, and Ireland 1 with the 6-2 split. But still, there were a lot of 5-3s. Wales still exclusively stuck to a 5-3 split, both under Gats and under Matt Sherratt. And Ireland largely stuck to their 5-3 split as well. They just played the 1 game up against France where they brought the extra forward. Scotland, 2 games with the 5-3, 3 games with the 6-2, so it's still like 16 6-2s and 11 5-3, so it's not that much of a difference. In my mind, I kind of had it that 5-3 was almost a rarity these days. I feel like we may be going to see less of it. I feel like there is going to be more emphasis put on the 6-2 and the 7-1, because we did see France 3 times bust out the 7-1, kind of taking a leaf out of South Africa's book. And hey, South Africa are the Rugby Championship champions. France are now the Six Nations champions. So teams employing creative tactics from the bench seem to be getting good results. So I would expect it to go that way. But maybe this is one we can kind of follow a little bit over time. But yeah, it is interesting to see which teams are going for which strategies at the moment. But what about the average time these guys are getting guys on the pitch? Because my gut told me France is bringing on the forwards early and bringing them on in packs, like they're subbing, similar to the bomb squad thing, bringing on all 3 front row replacements, bringing on a couple of forward replacements, basically all at the same time to get that best impact. But it's actually Wales who across the course of the Six Nations, and there are a few like outlying games where guys get subbed early for injuries or cards or whatever that maybe adjust the numbers a little bit, but largely across the course of the Six Nations, Wales were bringing on their subs earliest. The subs would on average come on 52 minutes. France were pretty similar, a couple of minutes behind at 54. So those are your 2 teams which are bringing the guys off earlier. Gats in particular was, in both of his games in charge, he was subbing the front rows very early on to try and get some impact. England and Italy are once again very similar in their tactics. They both like 6-2s, and they both had an average sub-on time of 56 minutes. And it is Scotland and Ireland that have their guys really going deep into the game. Scotland were 59 minutes, and Ireland playing the most at 61. A guy like Andrew Porter was going really, really deep into the minutes. So was Xander Fagerson. That is going to be one to watch going forward, because you kind of feel like almost gone are the days where you can just get your starting player to play 75 minutes. It needs to be 40-40, 45-35, more like that kind of split. If we get specific to the front rows, Wales and France are even below their kind of average, team average for subs coming on. Wales and France are at 50 minutes. So the front rowers are basically expected to play just over half a game. Italy's next at 53, although they had 1 game where Danilo Fischetti had to go off injured after 17, so that kind of bumps Italy's overall average down. Otherwise, it'd be closer to like 55, but they would still be second. They're kind of relatively happy to sub the props and hookers early. England are closer to the hour mark at 58 minutes, and again, Scotland and Ireland asking the props and hookers to go deeper into the match. Scotland 61 and Ireland 62 minutes. So it is an interesting one, because it's easy enough to say, well, France is getting the clear benefit of having subs on early, but Wales was doing the exact same thing and finished the Six Nations Championship without a win. So it's definitely not a one-to-one relationship in that bringing on subs early guarantees success in games, but you do feel like there is an element these days, especially with the forwards and especially with the front rowers, that you bring these guys on at least before the hour mark. But it will be one to track. But yeah, it maybe comes down to that question. Is the number 2 guy at 100% better than the starting guy who's maybe at 80% having played half a game, or at 70 or at 60%? When does that threshold meet? With a few of the teams, and I mentioned Porter and Fagerson in particular. Like Fagerson, I think, went one final game. He went 80 minutes. He didn't even get replaced, which is kind of bonkers these days for a guy in the position of tight head prop. So yeah, faith in the coaches to give the reserves a bit more game time. Feels like something coaches should be looking at, but as I said, Wales have been doing it, and it hasn't necessarily converted into wins. You guys let us know your thoughts. Do you see the 5-3 split kind of getting pushed aside in favour of a more standard 6-2, or even more teams going for the 7-1? You guys let us know your thoughts. Cheers for being here. Much appreciated, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.